Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? Joe Barnes here, and welcome to another episode of Mind, Money, and Marketing. Woohoo! And today we are joined by a friend of mine. It always makes me laugh, actually, when I say we're joined by a really good friend of mine, somebody who I've actually never met in person, but I have been speaking to him online for years now. Really, the last 3 years, I think I've known this chap, and he's always been super friendly, super helpful, super lovely. And over the last couple of years, he's really rocked it out with in the software world, the software as a service world, and has a fantastic platform to help you do webinars and Hangouts and register people for Hangouts and all of that kind of stuff. So today I am going to be grilling the very lovely Mr. Casey Zeman all about video and Hangouts. Welcome, Casey Zeman.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. Thank you so much. It's funny, yes, we've known each other for a few years now, and we've never met. But it's always such a fun time. It's like just one of those things. I probably will hug you, and it's like I know you already. So it's the same thing. The virtual friendship and the physical friendship. It's just there's only that one layer of difference. So
I know, it's going to be wonderful when I eventually get over to the States and I start meeting you and Jared and other people, that I know online. Just going to be great to see you. I'm going to be like, oh, hello, big hugs to everybody.
You're not just a computer screen. You're real. That's amazing.
Actually, Jared, our mutual good friend, of course, Jared, we always say that we reckon that we've peaked on Skype. We might actually meet and have nothing to say because we've said it all on Skype.
You're like, anyway, did you get that thing? I got it on Skype already. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so Casey, you have, you've been doing stuff in the video and the marketing arena for a long time now. I mean, I know that you're a little bit more known in the kind of IM online marketing world now because of your software and the webinars and that kind of stuff. But for years now, you've been doing lots of stuff for clients and quite big clients and offline businesses and stuff like that. I wonder if you could just actually take us through a little bit of your background and tell us kind of what's brought you to where you are today.
Absolutely. So, I actually still do some video stuff and have a few clients sort of left over. Now I have more like coaching clients now. But I started off online as a consultant because I was learning all these strategies of internet marketing, primarily though around video, and I didn't really figure out how to make money online with those skills. So what I started doing was I ventured in the offline consulting world where I took on clients and helped them with their video marketing strategies and primarily focusing on YouTube. So that's what I did for quite some time. I had handled clients like Estee Lauder, Dell, and handled their video campaigns and YouTube campaigns. So we did a lot of the paid advertisement with YouTube for those companies, and then I sort of melded into wanting to continue down the path of video, but more as I kind of just ventured into software. I don't know how I actually ventured into software, but I did. And then I started developing a software called Easy Webinar, which is a software that is an automated webinar platform that uses video. But then in the last 12 months or so, we've made it into a live software, live event software as well. So, but yeah, when I first started off, I needed to make income, and that's how I did it. And but then after I started doing more online, when I started making income online, I tapered off a lot of my consulting clients, and then just was doing that more often. So, but that's pretty much how I started off, and I still teach a lot of the YouTube strategies because now YouTube is so tightly wound into and woven into Google. So now I I kind of teach about kind of Google overall, but YouTube is a big aspect of that because it's all about engagement with YouTube.
So that was going to kind of be my next question, really. Just moving on to YouTube and video.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on video now? Is it still hugely important to an online marketing strategy? Is it getting more important? Is it getting less important? What's the current status of whether we as marketers should be including video in our marketing strategies?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna always say yes, just because I mean video is one of those engagement tools that everybody needs. I mean, the only way we're really going to communicate effectively to our audience is visually, in my opinion. I mean, MP3s work really great. You know, if you're doing a podcast, that also really works well. But what I like about video is that it puts a personality behind, you know, what someone might be learning from you or discerning from you. So I still think video is at the top of the heap for engagement. So yes, I would say that video is pretty powerful still. On top of the fact that you know, in the last 12 months, Google has said that they're going to be giving more weight to videos that have more engagement. Those are the things that are going to be found in the search engines over everything. A video that has engagement, where people comment on it, people like it, that will trump other bits of content online. So Google is putting more emphasis on engagement, and video is pretty much one of the highest levels to connect and engage with your audience. So yes, I'd say it's still a number one.
And what about people who are a little bit nervous about putting themselves in front of a video camera? What would be the best way for them to begin to incorporate video into their strategy?
Well, you know, there are quite a few people who feel like that video is just, it's, you know, I have to put myself in front of the camera. I have to, you know, do I have to dress right? What about the lighting? What about the audio? All these different aspects. And you're right, sometimes they can be a bit daunting and overwhelming. But video doesn't have to necessarily be just you in front of the camera. There are presentations that you can do where you're sharing a presentation where you're not in front of the camera and you're still giving great value. I would say that if you feel nervous about putting yourself in front of the camera, you could always get somebody else to do it for you. There's things like you go to Fiverr and get someone to do an announcement, or find an actor to do something. However, my personal belief is that everybody should allow themselves to just venture out and try to put themselves in front of the camera, especially if they're trying to build a personal brand. And the thing is, equipment doesn't cost that much anymore. Like, for instance, I have a camera right here. This is a Logitech C920, and it's about $79, and it's probably one of the best desktop cameras you can get. And I'm really just using my built-in computer audio. So, you know, we're technically on a video right now, and I don't have to use this big guy in the background here, and I don't have to use this, you know, camera if I don't need to. There's different equipment available to you that you know, it doesn't have to break the bank, and you don't have to necessarily go crazy with the equipment that you're getting. I think the biggest aspect for people that are wary about putting themselves on film, it might not necessarily be putting themselves on film, but how do I do it? What do I need? What cameras do I need? What audio do I need? What lighting do I need? So if you can get clarity in that, if you can understand what you can use in that aspect that still fits within your budget, I think you're getting much closer to probably being able to say, I can put myself in front of the camera. And finally, for those who get wary about, you know, putting themselves in front of the camera, in front of an audience, well, it's really just about practice, practice, practice. And I always just say to them that you have an audience that's going to resonate and connect with you no matter who you are. So it doesn't matter if you are concerned about what you might look like. You're going to have an audience that's going to connect with you. You don't have to try to be anybody you're not. You don't have to try to be an actor. You don't have to try to fake enthusiasm. just be yourself, be natural, and you're going to have an audience. So that's what I generally would say. I would say put yourself in front of the camera if you can. If you really, really can't do it, you could always go to Fiverr and things like that. So.
I just want to back that up with, you know, 3 years into this business, and I'm still here with my webcam and my Logitech USB headphones with mic, and that's it. That's my camera equipment, you know. And at some point, I'm really going to have to get rid of the headphones and get myself a proper desk mic. But while I'm traveling and I set up my computer wherever I am, the easiest thing for me is just to throw on the headphones, get in front of a webcam, and do my stuff, because at the end of the day, it's the content that's more important, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Content is the most important thing. People are going to, you know, they're going to be fine with what your camera looks like. I mean, if you start doing things on camera more often, and you start feeling, well, you know, maybe I could do this. That this might be a better camera. I mean, only from me doing it myself did I say, you know, I want to get that nicer camera. You know, just because I was doing a lot of video. But for starting out, it really is just, you can use your own desktop camera. You can use your own. You can get a headset that probably costs $59, $60. So, you know, everything is accessible, especially if you want to do things from your laptop. If you're a kind of a laptop entrepreneur, you don't need to have extravagant equipment, because yes, it's all about the content. It really is. The only
so
reason
what would be the simplest thing?
Yeah.
Sorry, Casey, that was just that crossover.
Yeah. Well,
what would be the simplest thing that somebody could do today to go out now and just start recording a video?
So all they have to do is, if you have a computer, it already has a built-in camera. Every computer that is on the market now has video software, video editing software. So Macs have gosh, I don't even use it anymore, but it's
iMovie.
Yeah, it's iMovie, I think. It's iMovie and
ScreenFlow, are you?
Well, I use ScreenFlow now, yeah. But PCs have Movie Maker, probably, something like that, built into it, or Adobe of some kind. So those are already built in, and you, chances are, have a camera already in your laptop or in your computer. If you don't, you can go to Amazon and get one very inexpensively. And you could also get a headset. Is that a Logitech headset, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, Logitech USB.
Yep. So there you go. You can simply go and grab that, and again, as I said, that's something you can get on Amazon. So if you're looking to do this straight away, you want to do something tomorrow, you know, chances are you may have it, and then you could pop it up. I mean, if you think about this, YouTube actually has a direct upload link, so that you don't have to upload a video. You can actually upload a recording. Like, I mean, doing it live, or doing a recording live. Like, obviously, we're in a Google Hangout, which does this too. But if you ever go into YouTube, there is an area where it says record a video. You click on that, and it will record a video. You'll grab your camera, and you can start recording a video right away. You don't have to have any editing software, and it will take that video directly to YouTube, which is the platform for promoting your videos and getting found, essentially. You see, video is a tool. YouTube is the engine to get found with that tool. So just think about that. You could actually just go right to YouTube automatically with just one click of the record button. So someone could do it right away.
Which leads beautifully into my next question. You just led beautifully into my next question there, Casey. With YouTube being the end.
Oh, there's a bit of a lag. Lost you for a second. Hold on. Wait for it.
Where you're going to go and get found, and that's the challenging part. Video being downloaded every minute and stuff like that. So. Oh, can you hear me?
Now I can. We have a bit of a lag. Are we back yet? Are we lined up yet? Hold on.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's my connection. It's all my end. It's my fault.
No, no, it's okay. It's okay.
Um,
So can you
anyway,
repeat?
so how do we get found on YouTube?
Okay, how do
That's
you
the
get found
question.
on YouTube? Great question. So I like that led in. Okay, so when you create a video, you see you use things. You use that video. You optimize that video to get found in the search engine, just like any other bit of content. You do that through SEO. You probably know what SEO is if you're following Joe. It's search engine optimization. And video is no different than any other content. All content can be optimized, whether that's an image, whether that's a video, whether that is a bit of text content. It doesn't matter. It all can be optimized to get found on the search engines. So what is nice about video is that why video, I think, in my opinion, can get found better and faster is because, first off, Google owns YouTube, okay? YouTube has its own almost search engine because of the fact that there's so many people on YouTube looking for stuff all the time. And videos on YouTube can also get ranked inside Google as well. So you're actually getting two major search juices happening at the same time here when you upload a video, because it not only can get ranked and found on YouTube, but it can also get ranked and found inside Google as well. And that's because of the fact that they are really essentially the same platform, okay? And there is this Google YouTube dance is actually, they're getting a little more intimate. I mean, they're almost going to pull the shade back to not show exactly what's going on back there, because they're becoming one. They're becoming one thing. So really, all you have to do is you have to title, describe, and tag your videos exactly with whatever your video is about in whatever niche you're in, based on maybe what people are searching for, and that video can get found. So that's really the aspect of it. I'll let you
So
catch.
other than the basics of the title and then the description and then the tags, is
Yeah.
there anything else? Are there any other little tips, little secrets that you can give us to help optimize our video more?
Sure, absolutely. So let's say you already know how to do excuse me, the title, description, and tags. A couple other things that you can do. YouTube has, for each video, what's called a transcription or closed caption area. And what that allows you to do is, well, they created it because it's for hearing impaired or other people that can't listen to the video. But so what happens is you can actually upload a bit of content into this area, and it will transcribe the video for you, and then you'll see a little overlay on the video with what text you just put into this transcription. And that transcription is completely optimized. It's completely it's optimizable. The search engines can find it, is the great thing about it. So if I were you, for every video you create, I would definitely recommend that you use a transcription. And inside YouTube, there's just an area where you can go into that, and you can actually use their built-in transcriber, or you can go and get it transcribed yourself, probably on Fiverr. What I like about the transcriber that YouTube has inside YouTube is that it will actually take the audio from your video and it will transcribe it for you. Now, the problem with that is that it's not always that accurate. So you will have to go in and tweak it and just change some of the words around, because it's not going to totally accurately get all of your audio correct. But it timestamps it for you, and it does a lot of the legwork. So so that it saves yourself time. So that's one aspect. Another aspect is when you're going to upload a video into YouTube. Those are called video files. A lot of times what people do is they upload video files that have crazy long letters and names. Usually it's always from their iPhone, always has this weird decimal dot FLV, or it has all sorts of numbers and different arranged letters. It's completely, it doesn't describe what the video is about. what I would suggest is when you're labeling your video files to be uploaded to YouTube, label those video files as exactly what you want your title of your YouTube video to be, or what people are searching for that video. Because YouTube starts ranking that video as soon as it starts uploading it to YouTube. So my suggestion is, let's say you have a video all about building a carburetor, like or car engine repair. Then you would say how to build a car engine.mp4 would be the video file. You'd upload that to YouTube, and YouTube starts ranking that automatically right away. So that's another tip that you can kind of take to the bank for getting some search engine optimization. Some other things that you can do are you want to be able to get as much engagement on the video as possible. So at that point, you need to have call to actions. Every video needs to have a call to action for whoever your audience is, so that they do something, whether that's click on a link that you have in your description area, or click on a link that's actually in your video because maybe you have enabled the clickable annotations in your video itself, or maybe you say, hey, like this button below or subscribe to my channel. Every video is an opportunity to drive people in to your marketing funnel, whatever it is. And a lot of people think that video doesn't really work for direct response marketing, but that's actually not true at all. Actually, a nice short video that has a good call to action, it can have a better direct response than any other kind of content online. So, did that answer your question, Joe?
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you for that. And the other thing with optimizing videos is about kind of getting a bit of juice to those videos and getting eyeballs on those videos and increasing the engagement on those videos. I'm presuming with Google and stuff, that's a kind of a social signal. So when you're taking your YouTube videos and you're putting them on social media, is it a good idea to take your YouTube videos and share them on social media as much as possible in order to obviously get your eyeballs back to YouTube? Or is it a good idea to upload your video directly to Facebook in order to, kind of get the Facebook juice, if you like? Because, of course, Facebook is a high-ranking site as well.
Yeah, but so that's a very good question. Now, when you put a video on Facebook, and someone types in whatever title that post, I guess, is about, will that video get found, Joe? See, you're more of a Facebook person than me.
Sorry, say that again. If somebody types in the title of the post...
So someone uploads a video to Facebook. Can that video get ranked in Google when it's uploaded into Facebook? You're more of a Facebook person.
I am more of a Facebook person, but yeah, if it's a public post, yes, it will do. If it's a public post and it's on your business page, then yes, your post can get indexed by Google. Okay. Well, I guess my personal preference would be to put all of your videos in one spot. If you're going to start using YouTube I guess it really just depends on where you want to house all your videos and where you want that audience to come back to. Me personally, I probably put it in YouTube so that I can get subscribers back to my YouTube channel. Or the other thing is, do I share the video from YouTube, or do I take that same video, put it on my website, and create a blog post around it, and then share that blog post to Facebook? That's probably what I would do more than anything else, because when I create a video on YouTube, I use that as a blog post for my blog. So that's when I take that whole blog post and put it into Facebook. But it's interesting when you were saying, what do you do automatically when you create a video? Well, yeah, so after you've uploaded the video, after you've titled it and described and tagged the video properly, after maybe you've added call to actions in the video, you have to market a bit of that video. So what I'll often say is,
you could do a few things. You could take that same video and you could get social bookmarking done to link back to that video, and you could go to Fiverr.com and simply say, hey, I'd like to do social bookmarking and link back to this particular video. You can also do a PR web or PR wire for that same video. Okay, there's a few things you could do with that, and then of course sharing it amongst all of your social networks. See, that's my opinion personally, is that if I'm using Facebook and I'm using Twitter and I'm using Google+, I'd rather take that YouTube video and put it on all of those sites rather than uploading my video to Facebook, rather than uploading my video to Google+ directly. I don't think I can yet to Google+ directly, but I would say if you're going to use video, I would personally use YouTube for all of that, because then Google will rank that. So if that YouTube video goes to Facebook and people like it on Facebook, people maybe give it a thumbs up inside Facebook, that will give you Google ranking for that video. So in my opinion, you might as well just create one video, spread it out everywhere, and inside YouTube, make that video inside YouTube, and then just share it everywhere, which will bring in more traffic into that video, and it's really up to you at that point for your call to actions to drive them back to your website, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally agree, Casey. Yeah, I totally agree. Sorry, that wasn't a trick question, but I did just want to see what your thoughts on that were. But if I've ever uploaded a video into Facebook, any public posts that are out there on Facebook are deemed to be searchable by Google. So if you put in the exact search terms of a post or something, then it's deemed to show up in the Google search engine results. But I have to be honest with you, I don't see that many Facebook posts suddenly hitting the top of the Google search end results, but I do see an awful lot of YouTube videos. So I would rather that my video was on YouTube and it was getting ranked by Google, and it was up there in the YouTube search as well. Because if you think about it, the search in Facebook is nowhere near as sophisticated yet as the search in YouTube. People are using YouTube as a search engine, right? But they're not using Facebook as a search engine.
Right.
So so I totally agree with you. I would take my YouTube video, I'd put it on my social networks, and I would distribute it in that way. And then also, you're not diversifying the traffic, are you? You're not diversifying. You're not saying, well, there's a video there and there's a video there. You're taking one central thing and then you're spreading it out, which basically gives a nice lot of traffic to this kind of one source, even if they've come to it through various sources. Yeah,
everything comes back to the one place. Whether that's housed on your blog or not, they're going to watch the video. So that's what I would do. In Facebook or Google Plus or Twitter, if I'm going to share a video, but let's say I created a blog post around it, I'll just share the blog post. I won't share the video directly, because they'll still watch the video from my blog, and they can still rank that video from my blog, and I can still have the same call to actions from that. So that's what I'll do. In fact, I'll do that, and I can then decide if I want to do some social bookmarking for that blog post or the video itself. I'd still probably do the blog post, to be honest with you. I always think that if I'm trying to eventually drive traffic back to my site, well, the only reason the YouTube video is out there by itself is to drive traffic back to my site from, say, YouTube or Google. But if I'm going to do something like do a PR wire or PR web thing, then I'm probably going to have it send direct traffic to my blog instead, because that's where you can directly get whatever I'm trying to sell or whatever I'm trying to provide people. So
yeah.
Okay, what about Hangouts? Have you found that? Have you done any testing with Hangouts versus video, and what's kind of heading up the old Google rankings there? What, in your mind, what are the benefits of people getting on and doing Hangouts?
Yeah, I mean, I feel very strongly about Google Hangouts. It's something that we've incorporated into our software. I've definitely created a whole strategy system around Hangouts to get ranking. And based on what I found, Hangouts, for some reason, get the top level of ranking, even over a YouTube video, when it's put into the search engines. And it's really because of the fact that, let's say that this particular Hangout, Joe, was titled and optimized to get found on the web. Well, right now, as soon as you click that broadcast, as soon as you start that broadcast, it actually starts getting ranking inside Google right away. It starts getting ranking, getting indexed. So because of that fact, I'm finding that Google Hangouts can do better than a video, especially if they're Google Hangouts that have an audience coming to them. So I use a bit of a strategy with my own community, where I use our software, Easy Webinar, and drive people into a holding room, right? And inside that holding room, I say, great, you made it to this holding room. Now, we're actually doing this presentation through Google Hangouts, and which is streamed into YouTube. So what you're going to want to do right now is click this link below and come into the YouTube video that we're streaming the Hangout through right now. So they'll click on that, and they'll come to the YouTube Hangout, and then now we are live in the Hangout, and that's where I then ask them to share news of this, to like the Hangout, as well as comment below. So it allows me to get more engagement and more likes so that I can get top page ranking inside Google using a Google Hangout. That's what I love about it, is that I don't need to create a video and try to drive eyeballs to it. I can actually create a live presentation, invite people to that presentation, ask them while the live presentation is going on to like or to ask questions, and that instantly builds more ranking when you have the more questions, when you have the more thumbs up, just the more engagement. So I find that they're easier to get fast engagement with less work, because you don't have to have crazy cool equipment. We're using a Google Hangout right now with our computer cameras, and if we had people live here, we would be asking questions. They would be asking. We would be asking questions. They would be asking questions. We would be answering questions, and we'd be building up that engagement. So I think hands down, Hangouts are the fastest way to get good top ranking and provide tremendous value because of what you can do with them.
So it's back to that old social signals again, isn't it? The reason Hangouts are going to, when you record a YouTube video and you put it on YouTube, you've then got to go and optimize it and try and encourage people to engage with it. Whereas with a Hangout, what you're doing is you're inviting people to engage with you immediately, and it's that engagement that pushes it up the search engines, correct?
That's exactly right, and it's so quick. I mean, that's the part of it that's really powerful, is that a YouTube video generally takes a little while to get that ranking. You have to have a built-in sort of audience and subscriber base to really get a lot of likes and a lot of views quickly, let's say, right? But with a Hangout, if you can invite some people to a Hangout, let's say you have only 5 people coming to the Hangout. Well, if they like it and they start commenting on it, that could do quite well. It's instantaneous. You're exactly right. It's instantaneous, and you could leverage maybe other bits of other communities that you have and drive people into that Google Hangout. And that's kind of what I like about Google Plus, because you can create circles, create those events with Google Plus. And then build up those events, and then say, hey, we're going to be doing a Google Hangout, and then drive those people into the Google Hangout itself, and then you now have a bit of a community. So they're an instantaneous engagement trigger, I guess you'd say.
I can really see Hangouts actually becoming a really good sales tool for a lot of people, because it's the closest thing to being in a room with somebody, isn't it, face to face, and be able actually being able to talk to them and build that relationship. Hangouts are literally the closest thing.
Yeah. I think what I find is that it's an evolution from webinars. Webinars, I love webinars, and GoToWebinar, let's say. They were really doing it, and they're still doing it. Everybody uses GoToWebinar still. The one thing GoToWebinar doesn't have, though, is they don't have where all those people, if you have a lot of people on the event itself, that doesn't help you in any particular way. Whereas Google Hangouts, once the event is over, what once was a Google Hangout becomes a video. And all that commenting, all that interaction engagement then helps you to have that event live beyond just the live event. Now it's a replay event, and it does quite well at that point. And that's the one thing that, webinar platforms and private webinars don't necessarily have. They don't have that virility, They are, of course, great for doing private webinars, but yeah, I think Hangouts is this evolution of being able to connect to our audience on a very real level and a very fast level, and that's why you see a lot of people doing Hangouts in their launches. They do a tremendous, they do long Hangouts. They'll do like 4-hour long Hangouts because after a while, someone will say, "Hey, that guy's on a Hangout with Joe," and someone else will say, "Did you see that? Joe's on a Hangout," and so more people start coming, and you're just on it for like 4 hours. You're gonna see more results, and that's why people do it. I mean, it does work quite well for launches for sure.
So are you finding in your business that you're tending to do more Hangouts now than webinars, or are you still is it still a bit of a balance as you're moving forward?
I use the Hangouts with our webinar software. So I've actually attempted to try to use Google or GoToWebinar a lot less than I have in the past. I still have a GoToWebinar account, but our software works to do Google Hangout integrated webinars now, where you can register the webinars, bring them in, and you and I did one probably a couple of weeks. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, where it's. Where now we're using Google Hangouts to do the webinar, and so I've been doing more and more of those, and I'm trying to just do those. That's all I'm trying to do right now. So it does take a little bit for those who have sort of a GoToWebinar mindset still. They're like, okay, well, I know this, this is how it's happening. But I'm pretty much making the full switch over to Hangouts from GoToWebinar because our software integrates with it. So anytime I do a live event, I'm just going to do the Google Hangout, and it's just a question of being able to set it up properly, and to be able to say, to get people to come to it. They can either watch it inside YouTube, and with our software, you can house the Google Hangout inside our software. So they will come to the webinar event page, where in that webinar event page, I can have links shared, so that they can, come through if they want to purchase something or download something. I can share the link right away. So that's how I'm using it. Yes, so to answer your question, yes, I'm using it a lot more because I have to, I guess, because I have to kind of put my money where my mouth is with our software. So yeah, I started only using that.
I thought it worked brilliantly. I thought the software was fantastic when we did that one a couple of weeks ago, and the ability for you then to do a SlideShare presentation as if you were doing a webinar, but then just take it off screen and show you and say hello, and so that wonderful way of being able to move between you on cam like this,
right,
and then showing people a SlideShare presentation is great. I mean, I just need to get my head around the whole. I do lots of live stuff on my webinars, showing people around the web, and every time I go onto my computer and start showing people around the web, I get this, kind of visual echo, going all the way back through the Hangout. So I've just got to kind of get my head around that. But once I can get my head around that, then I want to try and do a few more Hangouts rather than webinars as well, because I just love that immediacy of them being able to get the engagement of you just coming on screen, and I thought that worked super well. So have you found that with your webinars you've been getting better results and more engagement by doing the Hangouts?
I find that I can get more engagement. I get more viral engagement both during the Hangout and after the Hangout than when I do a webinar. With our software, we tend to get also more people to share news of the webinar, because we have some viral stuff built into as well, where people have to be able to say download a free gift, they have to share news of the webinar in order to do so. So once they do that, they share it on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+, and that links back to the registration page. So we have that kind of built in. So I find that I can get more people to the event, because also they don't necessarily see it as, you know, it really depends on how you want to do it. A Hangout, to a lot of people, it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of pressure, which is nice. I mean, they don't feel like they have to buy. They're going to be having to buy something. They could just come. They can learn. They can absorb. They can kind of just enjoy and hang out. And that kind of works quite well. I have tried to put a little bit more structure behind my Hangouts to where they are more of a private presentation, using our software to do so. So I use it both ways, and you know, I find that I'm getting probably maybe a bit of like 5% more people coming to the actual event than with a GoToWebinar. So whereas before I had about 30% people showing up to the GoToWebinar, I have about 35% showing up to the actual live event Hangout via our software, because of the fact that people can also watch it in YouTube as well. So you're getting people, my subscribers on YouTube will come to it, as well as the people that have been invited through EasyWebinar. So you just get more people because it's kind of a live show that everybody can kind of tap into if I make it available to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. So tell us a little bit about EasyWebinar, Casey. Just talk us, because we're coming to, we've run a bit over actually, but before we go, I do just want you to just quickly tell people what EasyWebinar actually does.
Sure. Yeah. EasyWebinar is a software that does. It's a registration platform essentially. It allows you to create a full webinar funnel from registration page, thank you page, webinar event page, webinar replay page, as well as giving you emails to use to broadcast notifications out to those who register. And the software does automated webinars, which allows you to upload pre-recorded video and stream it out at different times. So it's a lead generation tool at that point. But it also is a live, we do live webinars as well with the software, and that's through the Google Hangout integration. So you could do what a lot of people do with our software, and what we kind of teach as a good strategy is do a live event with Google Hangouts, and then turn that event into an automated event to where it can be streamed out at different times that you select as the admin in your attendee's own time zone. That's just one of the, you know, that's a good strategy to use to where that video, that webinar works for you over and over and over again without you having to be there. I like the automated webinar because I don't have to be there to do the presentation, but I can still answer questions. Like, Joe, so if I go into my email right now, there are probably 3 or 4 questions that I've just gotten recently from a new webinar that people are coming to. It's automated, it's pre-recorded, but it's live streamed. So if it starts at 2 o'clock, it really starts at 2. So people come to it. It almost feels like it's live, but I'm not trying to act like it's live. I'm not saying to people, hey, this is completely live, and it's not. But it just has that. It has that engagement level of it being live. And what I do is I answer questions that people have because I have those questions fed right into my email so that I can respond to them in real time, but without having to actually be at the event itself. So it saves me a lot of time. I can still spread my brand, my message out to the world and collect leads. So that's the automated side of it. And of course, the live aspect is just like doing any other type of live webinar event. You register someone, you send them the emails, they come to the event, and they can engage, enjoy, and comment. So, and it's all built within your own WordPress site because it's a WordPress. Right now, it's a WordPress plugin.
I've used it. I've used it, and I plugged it into my site, and I found it super easy to use, navigationally very friendly. I was able to set up my first kind of automated webinar within an hour, really, of just sort of watching your videos and just working my way through it. It was really easy to use, and you know, a really good piece of software. So it's, you know, you've done really well, and you've got some updates coming up as well soon, haven't you?
Yeah, we have a huge sort of big development thing going on in the next month or so. We have an entirely new dashboard being rolled in. We have new templates that can be customized in any language, and they are completely customizable. So you can change the colors, the texts. You can just everything. It's going to be pretty cool. The things that we're also rolling in are, so you can do paid webinars. So you just do a one-click purchase, and after they buy it, that's when they're sent to the thank you page. And so you can start doing paid webinars with our software coming up here pretty soon, and a few other things that are pretty cool. We connect directly with your autoresponder, so we have a lot of APIs that we're using so that you can connect with Infusionsoft, Aweber, Constant Contact, what else? Just any autoresponder. But I think those the Mailchimp, the 4 or 5 main ones are the ones that have APIs attached to them. So yeah, I mean it's a full it's almost like a CRM. Our software. We're looking at it like it's going to be a CRM. So it's going to you'll be able to track the attendees, see who purchased things. So that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to make it a full sales CRM and lead software, essentially, with using solely webinars and events.
Excellent. Awesome stuff. So, Casey, we really have come to the end of today's interview, and as we draw to the end, I always do like to ask my guests, and it does always tend to put them on the spot, so I do apologise for that. Right. I ought to warn them in advance, really. But you're going to wonder what I'm going to ask now.
I'm nervous.
Has there been something along the way, over the years, that you have watched, a film you've watched, a book you've read, a person you've followed, that stuck with you, all these years, that's really something that really inspired you, and that you can share with our viewers, and say, hey, go and check this out, because it'll be something that will really inspire you, or even life-changing, or anything. Does anything come to mind that you can share?
Yeah, well, I can't believe you are putting me on the spot. I know Chris Farrell had like 5 books that he could probably say, like, yeah, do this. I would say there are a couple people that I've followed that really helped me along with really getting familiar with and allowing me to for me to call myself an expert. I think that was a big aspect when I was first starting out. Can I take on that leadership role? And I think his name is Jay Abraham. I think is one. Brendan Bouchard is another. That what I like about these guys is that they take their passion and turn it into an expertise, and then they don't apologize for it, and they build inspiration around it. And it's always resonated with me, because that is really what I want to empower other people to do. If I can help them to find their own expertise, to find their own leadership position. I think that's the biggest problem that I probably had when I was first starting out, like really just wrapping my mind around the fact that I am a leader, that that I have an expertise, and just living that, just allowing yourself to be that expert. So those 2 guys helped me along with kind of coming to terms with that. So I hope that answers your question.
Does. It's great. Yeah.
Okay.
I really must start to warn people in advance, I think, that I'm going to come out with that question. So, ladies and gentlemen, the links to contact Casey and to go and find him in social media, his website, links to the software, EWP, so you can find out more information, all that kind of stuff is going to be below this video on my blog. Plus, of course, you can listen to this as a podcast, download the PDF, or read the transcription below. So lots and lots of options for you to get this amazing content. I would just like to say thank you so much, Casey. Thank you very, very much for appearing today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm excited that you're doing a podcast.
Yay! All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you again next week with another amazing guest and more fantastic content. In the meantime, you know, get out there and make it happen. Make it happen. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.